Hello guys, welcome to Sepia Diaries. This is your host Rupsha. Nowadays, we spend hours on watching reaction videos on YouTube. People from other cultures are reacting to Indian cinema, Indian food, Indian culture and whatnot. And we love to know how other people perceive us, right? So I thought it must be really interesting to know how the West saw us thousands of years ago when there was no internet and information was not that easily available.
One of the earliest Western texts on India is Indika, written by Greek historian, ethnographer, diplomat, and explorer Megasthenes. He experienced Mauryan India during the reign of Chandragupta Maurya and recorded his experiences in his famous account known as Indica. The original work is lost now,
But don't lose hope.
we can still know what it was about through other texts by later writers like Strabo, Arrian, Pliny, and Diodorus, who referred to it or used it as a source material.
So, in today's language, I can say Megasthenes was the first person from the West to react to India and to keep a record of his experiences in textual form.
The first question is, why did Megasthenes come to India? Megasthenes came to India along with Alexander of Macedon during his short-lived invasion of northwestern India. He also visited the court of Chandragupta Maurya as an ambassador to establish a friendly relationship between Chandragupta and Seleucus Nicator. Seleucus was a Macedonian army officer turned founder of the Seleucid kingdom after the death of Alexander.
Anyway, coming back to Megasthenes, he visited several parts of India. He described the rivers in the Punjab region in detail, which proves that he had definitely been in Punjab and travelled to Patliputra along the Yamuna and Ganga rivers. So let's revisit India from his perspective.
According to Megasthenes, India is a quadrilateral shaped land. Its eastern and southern sides are surrounded by the ocean, and the western side is bordered by the river Indus. The northern side, on the other hand, is guarded by Mount Immodus or Himodus. Probably he was referring to the Himalayas, Pamir, and Hindu Kush together.
Megasthenes made some really interesting assumptions. For example, river Ganga is much larger than the Nile. According to Megasthenes, people in India at that time worshipped Lord Krishna.
He also asserts that Indians were divided into 7 caste categories. He mentioned those castes as philosophers, farmers, herders, artisans, military, overseers, and councillors. However, interestingly, he mentioned the Greek gods Heracles and Dionysus to be worshipped by Indians. Needed some fact checking.
Probably he confused Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva with Greek gods Heracles and Dionysus respectively.
Greek mythical hero Dionysus is associated with hills, nature, fertility, and ecstasy, which might have made Megasthenes think that Lord Shiva and Dionysus were the same. Likewise, Heracles seemed similar to Lord Krishna to some extent.
He wrote that both Heracles and Dionysus ruled over India for several years and contributed a lot to Indian culture and civilization. Megasthenes talks about a flourishing India, a country which is rich in gold, silver, and beautiful pearls.
On the surface, it had trees full of sweet fruits and plenty of crops that humans usually cultivate, and under the surface, it had different sorts of valuable and useful metals such as iron and copper. These metals made India strong in terms of military equipment.
As per his observation, India was so affluent that no one knew how famines looked like. Forget famine, no one ever faced scarcity of supplies.
According to Megasthenes, geographically India was very privileged. In the north, it had huge mountains covered with varied kind of fruit-bearing trees. It also had heavily fertile vast plains. And how can we forget the rivers? India had a large network of intersecting rivers.
Rivers contributed a lot to make the soil healthy for crops. They also made irrigation easy. Farmers at that time too harvested twice a year. Megasthenes' description of people of India is really very interesting. First of all, he thought that people in such a land must be really wealthy. Not only wealthy, they were intelligent too. They were skilled artisans. And he felt that it was very natural for anyone who breathed such pure air and drank such fine water. He also confirmed that India had no colonies outside this land and it was inhabited by diverse race, all indigenous to this land. However, while describing people's appearance, the line between reality and myth really became blurred.
He also wrote about people who had gigantic ears. Yes, so large that they themselves could sleep inside their ears. Apparently, he also saw people that had no mouth. They didn't have nostrils either. Some had one eye in the middle of their forehead. I don't know what to say. Sounds like aliens, not Indians. His descriptions were so weird and far from the truth sometimes that Strabo doubted his authenticity and called him a liar. Several other Greek scholars also criticized him for spreading false information. The main thing that caught his attention was an animal that he had never seen before, the elephant. He was mesmerized by the war elephants, and according to him, war elephants were one of the main reasons the Ganga-Reddy civilization couldn't be defeated by any foreign power. He talked about elephants in detail, how they were trapped, kept in captivity, and trained for warfare. He also wrote about weird-sized birds that are not native to this land. His gold digging ants remained popular in the Western world for centuries.
So, his descriptions were somewhat true and sometimes just wild imagination. Anyway, it's always interesting to know. I hope you found this video informative. If yes, then please hit the like button and also leave a comment. To watch more videos on history, culture, and mythology, please subscribe to Sepia Diaries. Stay healthy, stay happy. See you soon.